Good afternoon, I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Welcome to Camnet TV Midday News. The headlines. HH and NALUMANGO promise to unite the country. BOZ maintains the monetary policy rate at 8.5% in the second quarter of 2021. Join me with the Midday News in detail after this commercial.
We have changed the mining tax regime to encourage value addition of minerals within Zambia and increase government revenue. We have amended the Mines and Minerals Development Act to declare gold as a strategic mineral. Vote for President Edgar Chagwa Lungu and the PF that have brought you change.
And now the Midday News in detail. Vice President Inongawina is concerned to note that some communities have been on the government relief program for 20 years, a move she has described as unsustainable and a barrier to national development. Ms. Wina says she has been tasking officials in the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit DMMU to provide tangible solutions other than leaving people on relief programs for many years. Speaking during the joint launch of the Voice of Climate Action in Zambia and the roadmap towards the UN Food System Summit in September 2021, Ms. Wina has expressed happiness with the project being championed by WWF and its partners in Kafue District.
The joint launch of the Voice for Climate Action program in Zambia and the roadmap for the United Nations Food System Summit slated for September 2021 was graced by our honor the Vice President Mrs. Inongawina in Lusaka Province, Kafue District in Chanyanya area. The Vice President, among other areas, visited Namulela Youth Cooperative Fisheries Project and Chiansi Cooperative, Kalembula Market Gardens Women's Project. The Vice President says the government wants to guarantee sustainable food production, environmental sustainability, and overall betterment of livelihoods in resettlement areas.
Dear Mimi, tell me, why is it that some communities in Zambia are on relief food for 20 years, for 15 years? There must be something. Let's find out. And what you have demonstrated here in Chanyanya means that we can win a number of communities from being recipients of relief. They should be on their own, be productive citizens, be able to support their livelihoods, and they also even support the families and contribute to government.
Nachira Lankombo is Worldwide Fund for Nature Country Director.
For your office, Your Honor, we know that you borne the brunt of meeting the needs year in and year out of communities that are affected by floods and drought-related hunger. Our hope, if we are successful through this project, we have clear voices and clear solutions pointing to how the thousands of Zambians that still depend on relief can be transitioned from depending on relief to thriving productive economic activities, depending on natural resources where they are.
And the United Nations is resolute to complement Zambia's development focus.
Upcoming national and sub-national dialogues on the food system are not meant to be one-off, but should provide an opportunity for us to review our choices and be bold on the outcomes we seek throughout the decade of action, and put the world on a new trajectory within a generation through action-oriented outcomes that Zambia could carry forward.
Meanwhile, the Netherlands Embassy has described the project as a milestone that will contribute towards uplifting the livelihoods of the people in the area.
We will work through a strategic partnership consortium led by WWF, working with also HIVOS, Slum Dwellers International, South-South North, and Akina Mama. The project will focus on targeting vulnerable communities across 9 districts in the Kafue Flats and Lusaka Province regions over the next 5 years. This action recognizes the immense challenges Zambia continues to face as a result of climate impacts.
And the British government says it remains resolute in helping Zambia to combat the effects of climate change.
It is my hope that this Power of Voices initiative, led by WWF, with its focus on climate agenda, setting and movement building at local level, joint lobbying and advocacy, as well as mutual capacity strengthening for co-creating alternative solutions and alternative livelihoods, will complement some of the work that the UK itself is supporting here in Zambia.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
5 presidential candidates have successfully filed in their presidential nomination papers, bringing the total number of presidential candidates to 13. On Wednesday, the main opposition political party, UPND, under the leadership of its party president, Hakainde Hichilema, filed in his nomination papers, flanked by his running mate, NALUMANGO. And speaking after successfully filing in his nomination papers, Mr. Hichilema says he will endeavor to unite the country, which is now divided on tribal lines.
13 presidential candidates and their running mates have successfully filed in their nominations so far, with National Restoration Party (NAREP) closing the day. Earlier, United Party for National Development President Hakainde Hichilema and his running mate NALUMANGO, supported by alliance partners, also managed to successfully file in amidst delays in the process. Mr. Hichilema, who came to the center around 13:10 hours, was kept at bay for close to 2 hours before being allowed to enter the nomination center. Speaking to journalists shortly after filing in, Mr. Hichilema attributed ECZ's delayment to attend to him to the political pressure from the ruling party who schemed to block his nomination. Mr. Hichilema, however, was consistent with the message of hope for the Zambian people.
Managers want to reunite this country, two, to reconstruct this country. Reconstruct it from the economic side, which is delaying at the moment, which is delivering nothing for the new country. So we can be able to also rebuild the social fabric that has been destroyed by those that probably sought public office thinking that it's a joyride. Public office is serious business. Politics is not a game, it's serious business. And this team will deliver this country. We will not let you down. I should not say more because we'll say a little bit outside, but simply to say thank you, media, thank you to the Electoral Commission. I know, and I think we all know the pressures they were under in order to disqualify us, but it was not possible. But thank you to the Electoral.
And Alliance spokesperson Charles Milupi says the selection of NALUMANGO as presidential running mate was agreed by all alliance partners.
We have been very meticulous, very careful in the selection of our candidates, presidential candidates, and his running mates. And you can see that alone is a clear demonstration that the nation is being brought together. Let me announce to the nation that the alliance that you see here, made up of so many political parties, headed by presidents that come from various parts of this country, I can announce that we are solidly united. Nothing will divide us.
Others who also filed in today include Socialist Party President Fred Membe, who says this election is for the poor people.
The majority of the Zambian people are poor. Apart from Zambia, but Abateka, Bakankara. If you find important from the Sylvia Quadawe, Ave Bakankara. Unomu akabapi na nabena n'abakwata patia Socialist Party patia bapi unomu akabapi na nabena n'abemina bali mu kansela n'abemina bali mu MP n'abakwata patia unomu aka kuivote abapi na bala ivote unomu aka abakankala nabena bala ivote twala muno alawi.
Harry Kalaba of Democratic Party also briefly shared his vision for Zambia.
To address the challenge of corruption that has ravaged the nation, resulting in loss of billions of dollars through illicit flows. I would like to call upon those Zambians to join hands with us in the People's Alliance for the people that we we may rid the nation of corruption, tribalism, regionalism, nepotism, cadres, violence and lawlessness. To our supporters countrywide, I want to announce that the GP has found in parliamentary, mayoral, council chairpersons and councillors across all the 10 provinces of Zambia.
But the Party of National Unity also had this to say.
Those choices, and even times when we had some kind of right policies, there were a lot of inconsistencies. So this government has suffered from a lot of inconsistencies, lack of clarity on policy, lack of predictability in terms of policies to develop our country. You know, development is a long-term process, and you can only develop as a country if you have the right policies. I want to make it very clear to you, what the country needs from us political parties is simply the right policies, nothing.
Meanwhile, Great East Road was painted with red by the UPND supporters who came to offer solidarity to their party. Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The Bank of Zambia has maintained the monetary policy rate at 8.5% in the second quarter of 2021. Bank of Zambia Governor Christopher Mvunga announced during a monetary policy briefing in Lusaka on Wednesday that the decision to maintain the policy rate is in order to allow for the last policy rate adjustment to take full effect on the economy. Mr. Mvunga adds that the decision is also in recognition of existing vulnerabilities in the financial sector and fragile growth. The governor, however, says inflation is projected to average 21.9% and 16.7% in 2021 and 2022, respectively.
Financial stability is currently the focus of most central banks around the world. It is therefore natural that central banks devote always more attention on how they will prevent or reduce the risk of financial crises. To that effect, the Bank of Zambia Monetary Policy Committee dedicates 2 days of every quarter to deliberate on how it will stabilize the finances of the country. And at the Monetary Policy Committee meeting held in May 2021, the central bank has decided to maintain the policy rate at 8.5% in order to allow for the last policy rate adjustment in February of 2021 to take full effect on the economy.
The Monetary Policy Committee decided to maintain the policy rate at 8.5%. So we retain the status quo. The policy rate will not be changed for this quarter. In arriving at this decision, the committee noted that while inflation is projected to remain above the upper bound of the 6 to 8% target range over the next 8 quarters, inflationary pressures are expected to subside more quickly than envisaged in the February Monetary Policy Committee.
Despite the policy rate being adjusted by 50 basis points in February of 2021 from 8% to 8.5%, inflation has continued to rise way above the target range to now 22.7%. The Bank of Zambia has since threatened to adjust the policy rate upwards should the expected drop in inflation not materialize sooner than anticipated.
That our expectation is that inflation will come down, particularly towards the end of the forecast horizon. This is mostly on account of excess supply of maize and other crops, higher copper prices, and improved external financing. By external financing, what I mean is money coming in outside our borders into the country. In addition, the significant improvement in copper prices and renewed interest in domestic government securities by non-resident investors are likely to be supportive of lower inflation. Inflation is now projected to average 21.9% and 16.7% in 2021 and 2022, respectively.
The bank also claims that fiscal pressure have remained high, reflecting high expenditure on fuel imports and the farmer import support program, as well as the need to clear accumulative domestic arrears.
And there are key sectors that have been identified. So that is already giving a boost across the board. And that feeds into, of course, consumer spending, prospects for investment, and also net exports, which we continue to record. So I think in aggregate, things are looking up, and this all begins to give a good environment for prices to evolve, and hopefully that we can quickly return to target as possible. Thank you.
According to the bank, the implementation of fiscal adjustment in line with the economic recovery program and the understanding reached in the discussion with the IMF on the microeconomic framework remains critical to restore and anchor microeconomic stability and to create the much-needed fiscal space. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Well, that news item brings us to the end of Camnet TV Midday News, but before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. HHN NALUMANGO promised to unite the country. BLZ maintains the monetary policy rate at 8.5% in the second quarter of 2021. That is all. Thank you for joining me. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Continue watching Camnet TV, not just another channel. Good afternoon.